Blah, blah, blah. Fame is a hell of a drug. And we're going to witness Stephen A. Smith right now, tipsy drunk off of his own power. Now, how did we get here? This clash, this beef between Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James. Well, I told you guys when I started this show, I saw the beef, the conflict, the clash of the titans between athletes and sports media, journalists, broadcasters. Well, we're in a place right now, a special place where we didn't predict years ago. This is crazy. Now, how did we get here in the current situation between Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James? Just for a recap, it started with Stephen A. Smith saying, as a father, and then crossing those lines of talking about Bronny James, talking to or about LeBron James, and then LeBron James having to confront him because you're talking about my son in basketball ways, but you're talking about me as a father, right? Put him out his basketball misery. So that led to them connecting, the clash, the confrontation at crypto.com arena. From there, Stephen A. Smith got on his show, and he did the right thing. He took the high road. He said all things were good. I was talking to a father, not a basketball player. But you know how y'all roll. Y'all was like, damn, you soft. Damn, you weak. Oh, you didn't want the smoke, blah, blah, blah. Thought you said everybody could come up to you when you're sitting courtside. What's wrong with that now? So Stephen A. Smith, pride affected, ego affected, decided to go on Gil's Arenas and other podcast platforms and start talking that talk, that tough talk. You know, the New York in me shun had to come out, blah, blah, blah. So now LeBron James is out here seeing this, and now it's time to stop playing checkers and play some chess. So he goes on, none other than Stephen A. Smith's best friend, which we know is not Pat McAfee's show. Now, that's the same show that Rich Paul's been on several times, they say, so I've seen him on there before. But now, LeBron James not on First Take, not doing ESPN Car Wash, but specifically Pat McAfee's show. Obviously, that's going to irk Stephen A. Smith, but you can't lead with that, not when you're the top dog in sports media. So you lead with the comments that LeBron James made. And let's just say, Stephen A. Smith, I'm going to have to do some videos on this. I didn't think I was going to do it until I saw the whole Stephen A. Smith went in on LeBron's comments, which you should. So I should as well. But one thing that stood out and went viral quickly was Stephen A. Smith just pulling this one out the hat, saying what he would have done if LeBron James would have touched him. Not confronted him, not cursed him out like he did, but actually put them paws on him. So Stephen A. Smith, tell us what you would have done if LeBron would have put them paws on you, boy.
That man put his hands on me, I would have immediately swung on him. Immediately. That
You would have what? You would have what? Okay, you would have immediately swung on him. See, this is the tough talk. This is what, you know, I always try to avoid. The whole smoke of, oh, if you keep the same energy. Or, oh, man, if you would have. Dog, the funniest thing about playing football taught me is I could say a lot. I could think a lot. I could be hyped up a lot. I could prepare a lot. I could do all these things, but there's always a moment of truth. That's the kickoff. When you run it down. Oh, this don't count. This just to get you in the position to when now you got to do what you're supposed to do. So one thing I know when I look at people in this world and they start talking and they start going around the whole circumference of a situation, I'm looking at them like, dog, there was a moment you could have spoke to, and actions speak louder than words. Do not tell me after the play what you would have done if the play would have came your way, because it did. The play came dead to you, and what did you do? That's why we watch film. So Stephen A. Smith in the moment said he would have put them paws on him. So LeBron James is like, okay, what paws? Oh, these paws. So this is Stephen A. Smith working out with his trainer. Shout out to the Miss Pac-Man in the back. And they getting their reps in. I guess anybody with Jordans is a trainer. Let me stop. Nah, those are Timbs. I don't know what the hell they are, but nah, he training them, right? He doing his job. He making his 300 an hour. Forget that. And Stephen A. Smith is not intimidating nothing with this, as he should not. And that's the point of this video. Now, let me be fair on this show, as I always try to be. Stephen A. Smith didn't stop when he said I would have swung on LeBron James. This is what he said in full But welcome to sports media, as Stephen A. Smith knows, because he controls. Nice try, folks. On my show, I said I would have swung on King James had he slapped me. Like lots of y'all said I was scared he would have done a few weeks ago. He responded to me saying he's scared. This is what this is all about, y'all. I also said immediately after that I would have got my ass thoroughly kicked by the 6'8", 250-pound Goliath, but folks just left that part of my YouTube sentence out, huh? Okay, have fun. We will have fun. Oh, we're going to have a lot of fun. Because why would you even say you would have swung and got your ass kicked? That's pride. Because whoever says I'm swinging to die, to get killed, to get beat up, you wouldn't have swung. And guess what? You didn't swing because you knew what would have happened in that situation. So let's not hear or act like now, oh, I woulda, coulda, shoulda, because you knew in that moment you could swing. Oh, he didn't put his hands on me. Well, you could have said something. Oh, he said something. So if he said something and you didn't respond by saying anything, what makes me think if he would have put his paws on you, you would have hit him? Do you understand the symmetry of that? Anyway, I'm not looking for fights, but I don't know why Stephen A. Smith retroactively is now saying he was. Crazy. But let's talk about how do we get here. Not just now, but back then. Let's call it the ATM, shall we? The ATM. This is what happened in sports media, and this is what I noticed because I was an active player when I first got into broadcasting. I was actually on the field still. This is old school, 2004 NFL Network, etc. The ATM is the allowance, the tolerance, and more. I'm going to go here. They being the industry, how they reward you, how they incentivizes you. They allowed the lines to be crowded. That means closed in. Before we used to talk about this, right? We used to talk about sports. And then they said, nah, let's narrow that down a little bit. Little less of the sport part, little more of the person. Then let's narrow that down even more. Little less of the person, more of the issues. So they allowed those lines to close in, and then they allowed them to be blurred, as you can see. We went from talking about, oh, what a dandy. What a great game, 38-12-6. To like, nah, let's talk about, did you see what happened to him during the week? You hear the reports from practice? To nah, did you hear what he did in the locker room? To nah, you know who I think he is? The guy's not a leader. We start going there. We go on even further. That's the A in ATM, the allowance. That was allowed. You know, that's how you stood out from the crowd. You allowed that person and gave them more incentives to keep going. Oh, you want to go there? And it all started probably with Jim Rome. I don't want to put it all on Jim Rome, and not in a negative way, but he was the first one, because he owned his own stuff. So he was like, I'm about to go there. Jim Rome is burning. Then it went to tolerance. And that's having to do more with the sports fans, you guys, than even the industry, because it was tolerated. You guys was like, oh, it's pretty good. I want to know more about the guy that just threw a pass last week, but now I want to know, what is he doing in his real life? Is he throwing some dishes at home, right? Is he throwing some furniture at home? Instead of just throwing passes on the field, tell me if he's throwing furniture at home. Let's talk. And when those lines were crossed, you got the allowance and the tolerance. Like, y'all cool with it. Because you can easily push back, be like, I don't want to hear that shit. I care about what that fool doing. You know, it's always that age-old argument like Michael Jackson. Dog, oh, they're going to give you all this talk and allegations of what Malcolm Jackson did and didn't do. And you don't know what's real from fake. But you now all of a sudden don't want to hear Billie Jean. The dude made Thriller. I made Thriller. And this stuff is unproven, but you want to go there. That's what happened in sports media. I'm out here Hall of Faming, but now y'all want to talk about, oh, what'd you do last Wednesday? Oh, we saw a video of you hanging out. So when you tolerated that, you allowed that to pierce through. We did, let's say it. Then we said, the M, more. Give me more. And to those who violated, who crossed those lines, who blurred those lines, who went to the fullest extent, they got more. They got more money, more attention, more power, more incentives. That's how it happened. And that's why I told you guys when I was on the air and doing this show, I was like, it's coming, y'all. It's coming down the pipeline. The beef is real. Because I know too many athletes that don't like sports media journalists. And I know too many sports journalists that don't like athletes, but they cover them with envy. And then the athletes are sitting there talking to them disgruntled and sitting there with resentment. You can hear it. You think all these guys are not articulate when they go to the microphone? They go like, hey, what's up, man? They be like, so what happened in the third quarter when you ran? Oh, coach called a play, we ran. They don't fuck with y'all. And guess what? So the reporters got their own egos into it now, their own sense of pride. They got some money now. They got $5. They got platform. They're like, well, then funk you too. And that's what we're listening to right now. We're listening to a pissing match. We're listening to a tug of war of egos and pride. Now, let's also talk about LeBron James in this moment. Because LeBron James is sitting there. I think LeBron James has come to a different realization. I think with this little response to Stephen A. Smith, whether it's the crypto response, whether it's the Pat McAfee, I'm going on your show, not any other ESPN shows response, or even the fact that, oh, you don't know what I'm talking about? LeBron James posting to Stephen A. Smith, you doing this and going womp, womp, womp. All of that, to me, is calculated LeBron saying, look, let's be real. The real problem you have with me is I'm not your GOAT. That's fine. But you have taken it too far because, one, it built the career of Skip Bayless by just hating on me every single day. A network allowed a guy to just pick out the best basketball player we had and always find his flaws, his frailties, his issues. Think of that. LeBron James at worst is the second best basketball player ever. At worst. And all we did for a decade plus was watch somebody and others find his issue, his 1%. Not the 99% of greatness, the 1% of, you are human. So, Stephen A. Smith, you want to pick up that baton? Well, do it. But the problem is now you're doing it with my sons in the league, and now you're talking to me as a father. And for Stephen A. Smith to continuously go on this, not only conversation tour, but confrontation tour, and now it's turning into, boy, you lucky. If you would have touched me and then I would have swung and then you would have killed me. Man, do you know how many fights I've not seen because I know who don't want smoke? Nobody wants smoke. Why is Stephen A. Smith talking about smoke? For the athlete in me is like, dog, what the fuck? Are you shitting me? Like, dog, do you know what we can do do you know what we can do to people? The worst of us. And you talking about a GOAT? Second best ever? Stay out that lane. But that lane was created through the ATM. Ching, ching, the allowance, the tolerance, and they want more. And we want more, so let's go. Without further ado, it's time for us to get some more. More of that what? More of them flows, boy. Let's get that thing, that boy. Let's get that thing, that boy. Stephen A. out here swinging for clicks. What's Willie Wabbit? Listen to these tricks. Stephen A. said he swing, boy, stop that cap. LeBron posted clips, got the timeline laughing back. You a desk sitting vet, not a real combat. Trying to box with a king, you ain't built like that. Yo, you wildin', acting like you Tyson. Talking about, I would've swung. Why you lying? You wearing church shoes, bruh, not Air Max. Trying to throw hands? You better throw facts. LeBron hit IG, posted your swing. Womp, womp, womp. Now internet sings, you supposed to report. Not starting no drama, acting real tough. But you ducking your barber. Ooh, you ain't in the gym, bro, you in the green room. Feeling froggy on set, trying to bring that gloom. It's hoops, not hands, don't get confused. You interview warriors, you not paying dues. Talking big on first take like you run the court. You never took a charge, never laced them shorts. You argue with Max, you beef with Skip. Now you won't smoke with the GOAT? You done slipped. This ain't no HBO fight night flick. This a reporter with pride and a mic that clicks. It's cool you got bars, but stay in your lane, cause Bron will cross you up and dunk on your brain. Don't let that suit and tie gas up your pride. You was shuffling in that ring, not floating like Clyde. Looking like Creed if he slipped on soap. We laughed so hard, we couldn't even cope. Yo, you my guy, but don't try to ever get with somebody like LeBron. He too fly. You came at the throne with a mic in hand, but this ain't Broadway. Bron ain't part of your plan. He ain't part of your brand. He's on the stage. You just yell real loud when you on that page. We love the passion. We love the flair. But this ain't WWE. Don't take it there. Next time you bark, check the weight class chief, or Bron will roast you again. Comic relief. Can't believe you were swinging. And I can't believe I came through with this thing bringing all this damn heat. All of my seat. Come around here, it's going to be all the IP. Let me stop. Have fun with this stuff, man. That's what we are now. This is us. Let's go. It's been a decade plus that I knew that this day was going to come. Oh, this is not hyperbole here.
Because I think the verse.
Time to hydrate. Hydration's the situation, so.